everything correctly. Pixel installed. Conversion tracking has been enabled. Maybe even our Google Tag Manager installed. The event looks perfect, but Meta is still showing 0 conversions. But why, you may ask? And how do you fix it today without touching a line of code? Well, today we're going to be debugging any issues and show you how the ad agency debugs this to ensure that our clients' conversions are smooth sailing. What's going on, gang? It's your boy Jerry the Air Wizard, coming back at you with a brand new video. And today, we've all been there. The client is asking, why aren't leads being tracked? Or maybe you've noticed in your Meta Ads Manager that there is 0 conversions showing, even though you know for a fact that conversions have happened. Maybe you're staring at the Meta Events Manager and wondering what's happened. Well, sometimes Meta's being weird, and sometimes there could be something broken. So we need to be able to debug this, guys, and we need to be able to see what is going on and be able to fix any issues in the conversion tracking. And here's the thing, guys, if your pixel isn't firing, then the campaign isn't learning and your ad AI isn't getting stronger. So this video will show you exactly how to fix that. This is the stuff that Meta doesn't show you, but your clients expect you to know. So stick around, guys, we're going to get into it today. So that by the end of the day, you will learn how to set up conversion events using Meta's event setup tool, the best way to track phone call events using the conversions API and dynamic numbers, a step-by-step workaround for dynamic landing pages, how to use Google Tag Manager preview mode to check if your event is firing correctly, and if your form submit trigger isn't working, a potential workaround to help you fix that. So guys, grab your coffees and grab your hats. It's time to spin out some art magic. There are 3 main tools that we use to debug conversion events at the AdWizard agency. Tool number 1 is the Meta Pixel Helper. Go to Google and type in Meta Pixel Helper and ensure that this extension is installed on your browser. It will appear in the top like this. You'll be able to see that the Meta Pixel is connected, and beneath that, what conversion events are firing as we go and make a test conversion. If we want to debug something, then there are a couple of different tools that we use to debug that. The second tool is the Meta Event Manager. Okay, on the left-hand side, to Events Manager. And this is Meta's way of telling you the different conversion events that are coming through. So this is a very, very special place because we can see what's coming through. We can see potentially what's not working, and we can test any conversion journeys. And the final tool that we use is, if you have Google Tag Manager, there is a way to debug the conversion process on that as well. Maybe you have set your conversion events up or your pixel through Google Tag Manager. Stick around, guys. I'm going to go through the Google Tag Manager settings at the end and a potential workaround if things still aren't working there. First of all, guys, you need to make sure the Meta Pixel Helper is installed as an extension on your browser. Then we're going to go to Meta's Event Manager. Here you will see all the different conversions that are happening in your pixel. Okay, so if you scroll down here, you notice one of the conversion events that is tied to one of your Meta ad campaigns isn't firing, then we need to debug this. Okay, so in the cases here, we see that there is no recent activity, and the last time this was triggered was 17 days ago. So there is something broken here, guys, and we need to be able to fix that. Okay, so what do we do? Well, step number 1, guys, is to navigate to the Meta Event Manager, and here we're going to go to Test Events. Okay, if you have installed your pixel and you know that the conversion events have been added to them and you want to debug this, or you want to test what is happening along the conversion journey and make sure everything is firing correctly, we want to go here to Test Events, and we're going to go through the conversion journey ourselves to see what is firing. Okay, and I'm going to give you some examples of what to do if everything is okay and what if something is broken. So we're going to fix this and debug this together, guys. Okay, so we've gone to Test Events here on the Test Events tab. Okay, and we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom where it says confirm that your website's events are set up correctly. Right, so we're going to click here. And it's going to say, okay, what URL should we test? And this is when we need to type in the URL of our landing page that we're driving traffic to. Obviously, we've optimized a campaign around an action when somebody reaches the thank you page or the end of the conversion journey. So we need to make sure that that is firing correctly. So here we're going to type in the website URL of our booking page or our landing page, depending on whichever one we want to debug. So what we're going to do is enter the client's URL landing page here, and we're going to press Test Events. Then it's going to open up the landing page in a new tab, guys, right? But if we go back to the old tab where the Events Manager is set, this is where we will be able to see a real-time feed or a real-time view of the different conversion events that are being triggered along this conversion journey. So from the offset, we have a page view. Okay, so as we hit the landing page, this is a page view conversion event there. You can have you can segment different conversion journeys. We can have here, for example, if this is a specific sign-up form for a specific procedure or specific service that you offer, you may want to segment the different conversion journeys by having their own tailored conversion events, but we're not doing that today. All roads lead to Rome within this particular client. All traffic gets directed to this landing page, and the main thing that we want to be able to ensure is that when somebody hits the thank you page of this lead submit form, that's the lead conversion event gets fired. This is the same thing if you are selling something and the purchase event gets fired on the thank you page after somebody submits their payment details, for example, right? So it's the same process, and we're going to test what is happening. So I'm going to add in my test details here to test to see what happens in the Meta Events Manager. Okay, so I've added in my test details, guys, and I'm going to press send request, okay? This will hopefully lead to a thank you page or something happening. I'm going to press send request. And what we can see here as the thank you page loads, the URL is now /thank you. And under the Pixel Event Helper, if you click on this, you'll be able to see the main conversion event that we are trying to trigger. In this case, is the main thank you page, okay? And we've got a custom conversion in there, which is the client name, main, and thank you page. This could be lead, this could be purchase, whatever the end conversion action is of your customer journey, right? And now, if we go back to the events manager, then we should be able to see all of the different events being fired here. And as we can see here, the custom conversion that we have added on the thank you page is being fired, okay? We can see here, processed, so everything is working okay. Now, if you don't see the main conversion event that you are optimizing around appear in the Events Manager debug mode under Test Events, then there are some things that could be broken. And how do we fix that? Well, guys, I'm going to show you how to fix this if you don't want to disturb your amazing developer friends and go and add in the specific line of code for the conversion event on the thank you page. We can fix this without that, okay? If you notice, for example, that the thank you page isn't loading, as an example, I'm going to show you a quick example, guys, okay? So within this particular lead submit form, okay, we're going to put in another test. I'm going to show you what's happening here. And we're going to put in a test booking here, guys, and to see what happens in the conversion journey. This particular conversion journey is broken, okay? So this client said to me is, hey, we have this conversion journey where somebody submits their lead details. We have a campaign orientated around the lead conversion event, but it's not firing, okay? So that we have a campaign optimized around lead, but that isn't being triggered as people are submitting their lead details. So we need to test this, okay? And this is an example. So I'm going to press submit to see what happens. As we can see here, guys, okay, what should have happened is that we should have been redirected to a thank you page. What has happened instead is that a thank you pop-up has occurred and the URL hasn't changed. So before, the URL was sitting on the thank you page, which now isn't loading, which means that the conversion event isn't firing on the thank you page because the thank you page doesn't load, right? So how do we fix that, guys? Well, step number one, we need to contact the developer team, say, hey, has something changed in the conversion journey? Why is the thank you page not appearing anymore, okay? Asking them, maybe they have made a change around this pop-up, which means that automatically the thank you page isn't loading. Maybe they've removed the thank you page, right? Maybe there might be a number of reasons. So that's step number one, guys, is asking your developer team what has happened and why the thank you page isn't loading in this case. And if they say, we're not sure, can you make this work anyway? I'm going to show you a quick workaround whereby we don't even need the developers to go and add in the conversion code, not on the thank you page, but on the form submit button. Okay, so really, really cool, guys. What we want to do is add the conversion not on the /thank you URL. Okay, when somebody submits their lead details, when somebody presses submit, the conversion gets triggered when somebody presses that submit button. So I'm going to show you how to do that without doing any coding, without even touching a line of code. So guys, to debug this, we're going to go back into the events manager. And with the thank you page example that I just showed you, we're going to go through the conversion journey to show you how to add a conversion event to the button itself and not on the thank you page, right? So first of all, we're going to press clear activity to restart the conversion journey test. Then we're going to go back to overview. Okay, once overview loads, on the right hand side, there will be a button that says manage integrations. Okay, so we're going to go here. This is what it says, one active integration. We're going to click on manage integrations. Okay, and then here, under where it says MetaPixel, we're going to press manage and we're going to open event setup tool. This is an amazing tool, guys. Meta have had this for a very long time. One of my favorite tools to use on the Meta Ads platform because it means that we can add in our conversion tracking without disturbing the developers, which is super cool. Okay, so I'm going to press open event setup tool and then we're going to press again here, open event setup tool. It's going to say, cool, website URL are you wanting to track? And here we're going to type in the URL of our landing page again, or of the page where that somebody needs to submit their form details. So we're going to add in the URL and press add events. This is going to open a brand new tab with your landing page and you will see here as a pop-up the Meta Event Setup tool on top of the landing page itself. Okay, and here is the magic of how we can install conversion events using a button click or, as you can see here, through tracking a URL. This enables us to add conversion tracking across the user journey, depending on the buttons people press and depending on the URLs people land on. So for the purpose of this example, we're going to go through and I'm going to show you how to add a conversion event behind not the URL, which we have discovered /thank you is broken at this point. Okay, it's not appearing when somebody submits their lead details. So we can add the conversion event behind a button instead. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Okay, so I've added my test details that I'm going to be submitting by this test. I've put very clearly that this is a test so that the internal team knows that this particular submission is a test run. And what we're going to do here now is where it says track new button, we're going to press that, and then Meta is going to say, hey, which button do you want to track? And as you can see, all of the different buttons that we can track, they're highlighted in blue. And as we can see here, the send request button at the very bottom when somebody submits their lead details is the button that we want to track. So we're going to select that. And here we're going to say, okay, what event do you want to track? Okay, they are the default events from Meta, not the custom conversion events, unfortunately, but we can add the default conversion events here, right? So in this case, when somebody submits their lead details, we want the lead conversion event fired. It doesn't have a value at this point. We're going to press confirm. And now the Meta event setup tool will show you that lead is fired when a button, which has the word send request on it, gets submitted. Okay, we see here the green tick to show you that the conversion event is linked to that specific button. And then what we need to do, now that we've added the lead conversion event, we need to press finish setup. Here it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to submit these? And what we can do, and what it does, it shows you all the changes that were made during this particular setup process. And then we press finish here. It'll ask you for some feedback. And what we can do then is test this again through the test events to see if that lead conversion event gets fired on the button itself. Okay, when somebody presses that button. So going to go on test events again, scroll down to the bottom. We're going to type in, once again, the landing page URL of the client. We're going to press test event and we're going to go through and test the events again. So now guys, I haven't pressed the button yet, but as soon as I do, we should be able to see the lead conversion event firing here. I'm going to press the button. And what we can see here, guys, very, very interestingly, is that event isn't being fired. Okay, and the reason is because you may need to wait. Okay, if you wait 30 minutes or so and test it, that conversion event will appear in the events manager to test section. As you can see here, it has not appeared yet, but we have a pop-up that says test events may appear in real time, but it may take up to 30 minutes after you set up your event to see it in your analytics. So we just set it up, we've just tested it, it isn't firing. What we do is then come back to this in 30 minutes, test it again, and see if it works. Okay. Now, another way to set up the conversion events, maybe on a different URL. Say, for example, the developer team has said, yep, we will make sure that the thank you page is properly implemented and it is properly appearing. But the thank you page is now changed to /thank you page. Maybe there's a small URL change. Well, we can install the conversion event again without disturbing our developer friends, guys, using the Meta Event Setup tool once again. So we're going to go here to manage integrations. We're going to press manage. We're going to open Event Setup tool once again on the next button. And then here, we're going to run through the conversion process one more time so I can show you how to install the conversion event using a URL instead of that button click. So we're going to type in our landing page URL once again, and we're going to press add events. This is going to open up the landing page in a brand new tab. And along with here, as we can see, all the other conversion events that have been set up on this page, this will also be brought up into the Meta Event Setup tool. And what we're going to do, guys, is that we're going to be focusing on this button, so track a URL. We need to trigger that URL before we can add a conversion event on there. So I can't now just track a URL and press /thank you. I need to navigate to that page /thank you in order to add that conversion event to that URL. So I'm going to add in my test details once again. Bye guys, before we go anywhere else, and you're new here, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any more important updates. We are here many times a week. Our business owners, online advertising, digital marketeers, get the best from the online advertising, baby, and digital marketing strategists. But without further ado, let's get on with the video, bro. And navigate to the thank you page. I'm going to press submit in order to get to the thank you page. And then, as you can see here, the Meta Event Setup tool is brand new fresh. It has no events showing on this page. From then, we're going to press track a URL. It's going to say, cool. So which URL are we triggering here? As you can see, it is the default as a thank you page, the URL that we're currently on. And we can select here either URL equals or URL contains. You can do URL equals if there's no dynamic change in the URL, like this is always the same /thank you. But if there is some dynamic code, e.g. /thank you and then a user ID or some other dynamic quality, we can go URL contains. And then, for example, we can just say /thank you. So anybody that comes to the client's domain and hits the thank you page with URL with /thank you just in the URL submit is going to trigger that conversion event. So what we're going to do here is, because it's not dynamic and it is the same, we're going to press when anyone lands on the thank you page, they're going to trigger the lead conversion event. But because we've already added the lead conversion event to the button, okay, as we test this, the ultimate optimization goal is lead. but we might want to add a different conversion event here just to see when we test the different conversion events and what is firing. For example, you might see here if we select that complete registration fires on that thank you page, and maybe leaves doesn't when somebody clicks the button. Okay, maybe sometimes the meta event setup tool doesn't work on buttons, very strangely. So I would recommend using URLs if you can, but this is a way, if we use different conversion methods during the test, then we can see what's working and what's not, and then change it. If this one particularly is working with the URL, we can change this back to lead. On the form submit button, we can remove that and just have this one. We don't want lead firing twice, guys. Okay, very important that you only label the last conversion event on the thank you page or on the button press itself. So for this particular example, I'm going to press complete registration so that we can see the difference of, hopefully when somebody hits this URL, complete registration is triggered, and when somebody presses the button, lead is triggered. So I'm going to press confirm to set this up. Here you can see that the event setup tool is registering. So then we're going to press finish setup. We're going to press finish again to confirm those changes. Then we're going to submit the feedback form. And now we're going to wait another 30 minutes, guys. Very important that we wait 30 minutes and then test this conversion journey again to see which conversion events are firing, whether it be on the button click, on the thank you landing page URL itself. So I've just done another test submission, guys, and now under the events manager, we will be able to see under test events all the different conversion events that are firing. So the original custom conversion that we did set up is working correctly, but we're not looking at those. We're looking for complete registration and lead. And as we can see here, guys, lead has been triggered and complete registration have both been triggered, which means that both pressing the button, hitting the landing page, and hitting the thank you page URL have both triggered the conversion events that we want. So the meta event setup tool has worked correctly. Now we just need to remove one of those because both of those are working. We can just say, okay, let's remove the one with the thank you page, the complete registration, and just leave the lead conversion event, okay? Because both of them are firing. Like I said, you might want to set up both just to see if both are being triggered correctly. And as soon as you find that out, then you just need to select one, either press that button or when somebody hits the thank you page. If the thank you page on your website isn't loading, then you might want to add in the conversion event behind the button. As we can see here, lead has been fired. So it is working correctly, guys. What we need to do now within this particular example is remove the complete registration conversion event from the thank you page URL. Otherwise, we'll have complete registration firing and lead firing, and we don't need both. Okay, we only need lead to fire once. So we're going to go back to overview and we're going to remove the complete registration events and just have lead running, okay? Because we've just seen lead has worked, so now we want to remove the other duplicate test because we only need one. So to do that, again, manage integrations, manage open event setup tool. We're going to open an event setup tool. We're going to type in the URL of the landing page. And here, because this lead button here is firing correctly, what we need to do is navigate to the thank you page. And here is the complete registration conversion event that we've just fired. If both of these were lead, we wouldn't know which one is correct. We'd see that both of them are firing. So what we do here is, because we've got complete registration as the other conversion event, we know that both are firing. We want just lead. We can remove this one, and then lead is going to fire on that button click instead. Okay, so then we go finish setup. It says, hey, do you want to remove this? This will be deleted, and we go finish. We skip the feedback form, and then we're going to try it again, guys, just to make sure that complete registration has now been removed. And the only thing that fires when we do our test conversion process under our lead submit form, that is just lead that's firing when that button gets clicked. Again, here, as we can see, all of the previous conversion events have been logged. We're going to go on clear activity, and we're going to do one last conversion journey test to see that lead is firing correctly. Okay, so one more time, guys. We have entered in under the test events section in the events manager. We're going to enter the form in one more time to debug this. Hopefully now everything has been solved. Okay, so just heading back to the events manager. At the moment, it is just page view that has been triggered. But as soon as I press this button, we will see lead hopefully appear here, guys. And hopefully now that we have waited half an hour, we should just see the lead conversion event firing and not the complete registration event firing, because we've removed that now. So press send request. As we can see here, pixel event helper, and when we go back to the events manager section, we can see here that the lead conversion event was processed and the complete registration event has been removed from this. So guys, we can confirm that this is now working. So what we can do now is create a campaign and connect it to the lead event, because now everything is firing correctly and Meta knows when that lead event is being triggered properly so that it could optimize and find more people that are likely to convert under lead. Now you might be wondering, guys, how do we add a conversion event behind something that is dynamic? E.g., this phone number here, when somebody clicks this button, it'll open up FaceTime and it'll create an additional dynamic code behind the phone number itself, so that what gets fed into the CRM or the customer relationship management system is the dynamic code. What we want to do here, like we did before, is create the conversion event behind the button itself. So to do that, okay, we just use the Meta event setup tool. And like I showed you before on how to add that conversion event behind a button, Okay, this is a button. You'll be able to select this button itself and say, when anybody clicks this button, the conversion event will fire. Okay, then it doesn't necessarily matter what dynamic extract happens on that button click. Here, when somebody clicks on the button, that's when the conversion event fires. It doesn't matter whether or not the phone number itself is dynamic. Now, if it does, and that doesn't work, then what you can do, you can ask your developers that if you use a UTM, for example, so here the URL has a UTM, the UTM source equals Facebook-ads, what we can do is when somebody clicks this button and that UTM gets fed into the CRM system, we can tell and ask the developers, hey, when somebody clicks the phone number, and it has UTM_source equals Facebook ads, we'd like the conversion events to be added there. And the developers can add in the code manually behind that button. So through the Meta Conversion API, so that when somebody does click that button and the number gets dialed, then the conversion event gets triggered and that gets fed back into the Events Manager system. Okay, so that is a way, if you want to add a conversion action behind a dynamic feature on your website, whether that be a phone number or a landing page, for example, then we can add in those conversion events manually into the CRM system. Okay, you may comment down below if you got any questions. Now guys, if you have Google Tag Manager installed and you're running your conversion events through a Google Tag Manager, there's also a way that we can test conversion events in Google Tag Manager itself to see what is firing, very much like the test events section in the Meta Event Manager. Okay, it's very similar. We can go through the conversion journey to see what is firing and to ensure that all the conversion events are firing correctly. Now, to debug this on Google Tag Manager, okay, we need to go through the conversion process. If something isn't firing, then we can go and adjust the triggers depending on what we see. Okay, and I'm going to show you a workaround. If your lead submit form still isn't being triggered when you are using Google Tag Manager, then there is a workaround. Okay guys, I'm going to show you that at the very end, but for now we just need to test the conversion journey to make sure that everything is firing correctly in order for us to see what is happening and to be able to fix any issues that could be occurring. So once everything has been installed and we want to debug this and test this, we're going to press preview in the top right hand corner here, and it's going to bring up a preview mode, much like with the Meta Event Setup tool. Here we're going to type in the landing page URL. We're going to go through a test conversion flow to make sure that everything is firing correctly. So I've added in the landing page URL. We're going to press connect. It will bring up a pop-up window with the tag assistant as a pop-up, as we can see here. And what we're going to do here is we're going to test the conversion process. We're going to submit our lead details and see what happens. Okay, because when we go back to Google Tag Manager, like on the Meta test event section, we're able to see all the conversions that are being fired here. So let's test it, guys. Let's see what happens when we add our test details in here again and see what fires. We're going to press send request and this will bring up the thank you page. And then we're going to go back to Google Tag Manager to see what has fired and potentially what has not fired. We have pressed submit. We have got to the thank you page. Now we're going to press finish. It's going to close that window and then we're going to press here in Google Tag Manager. We're going to go back to Google Tag Manager and we're going to press continue. And here, as you scroll down, you'll be able to see the output or the different events that are being fired in Google Tag Manager. And we're going to scroll down here. These are all of the different tags that have been fired, okay? If it isn't working, what you'll see here under tags not fired is all of the conversion events that have not been fired. If your conversion event is under the tags not fired, then it's not working correct, you guys, right? So we need to fix that. If it is firing correctly up here under tags fired, then we know that everything is working fine and we do not need to debug anything. But if your conversion tag appears here at the bottom under tags not fired, I'm going to show you a little workaround of what helped us to debug this, especially under submit lead details. Okay, so we're going to close the preview mode. We're going to click on this top left-hand corner under the X button. We're going to navigate. Okay, so to troubleshoot this particular conversion tag in Google Tag Manager, we're going to press tag. Okay, and say, for example, that one of your conversion, and you scroll down to the main conversion event that you are wanting to set up or to fix, okay? For example, this one here, we're just going to take a look at this one so I can show you, is what we've done here is that we've set up this event as a custom HTML, which means that the conversion tracking is hard-coded into the thank you page. We can see here that the Facebook event track and then the name of the conversion is the main tag, and the trigger when we scroll down and selects this will be the thank you page. Okay, so when somebody hits the thank you page, that's when the tag to this gets triggered. Now guys, if you are experiencing issues with this and for example is not firing, what I recommend for you to try under the trigger configuration, okay, you're going to press page view, and instead of page view, when somebody views this page, the / thank you page, the event should get triggered. But if it doesn't, try this, guys, as a workaround. Okay, so instead of page view, you're going to scroll all the way down and you're going to press here form submission. Okay, if the thank you page event isn't being triggered, try this workaround, guys. Okay, use the trigger type as form submission instead of page view, and then go through the conversion journey again to test to see if this comes up. What we do is press save, you publish your changes, and then you go through the preview button again to go through the onboarding process to test if now the thank you page conversion tag is being triggered correctly. Okay, so that is my workaround, guys. If it's not working for you, try form submission as a trigger type instead of page view. Okay, so that's very simple workaround that has worked well for us. If the page view doesn't work, then typically form submission as a trigger type will work instead. So hit a comment down below if you got any questions. Guys, we are launching something special at the AdWizard agency, and if you want to get involved, we have a wait list link down below where you can register your signal of interest to get involved. If you want to have exclusive access to what we have planned next, click the link down below and sign up to our waiting list today. And that's it for today, guys. Hopefully that was useful for you. Hopefully now you have a really good understanding. How to fix meta conversion events and how we at the agency may debug something like this. In case something's broken, we need to make sure that we can fix it very easily without disturbing your friends, the developers, without needing to pester them, and by fixing this yourself. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. If you'd like to learn why this matters and why this makes sense and how to best train your ad AI on your conversion journey, I've got a brand new video on my here that you might want to watch. I'm your boy Jerry the Ad Wizard. You can catch me on LinkedIn at Jerry Griffiths, on Instagram and X at Jerry AdWizard, and at Jerry Dreadlocks everywhere else. And your boy Jerry the AdWizard, and wherever you are in the world, I bid you peace, love, and a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.